Hello, my loves. I'm back from Vegas. Y'all, I saw Kylie Minogue. I saw her at the Voltaire at the More Than Just a Residency tour. I guess it's not a tour, but I had the best time, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. I'll talk about the show itself first, and then I'll talk about just how the night, like, logistically went, because I feel like I was confused going into it, just how everything would work at a different kind of venue like this. So I'll discuss that because I feel like I could have used a video explaining all of that before I went, because it is kind of confusing when you don't really know how a show at a venue like this will pan out. So anyways, the concert itself, I mean, it's Kylie, so like obviously it was a serve. Like there's really nothing else to say aside from it's a Kylie Minogue show in the US, which is like crazy. I mean, she hasn't toured here since what, like 2010 or something? So when she ever announced that she was coming to Vegas, I was like, I'm going. Like, there's no way that I'm not seeing her. So yeah, I definitely was excited, and she just delivered. Like, honestly, the entire show was exactly what I wanted from a Kylie show. But at the same time, I also feel like maybe it was a little less extra than some of her previous tours, I guess, because this is a small venue. Like, you could see the video right now. This is a very, very tiny venue. Voltaire is a small theater, and that is really cool. Like, when I tell y'all, I could have reached out and touched her. Like, I was gonna say like a few rows back. It's not rows there, it's like tables. So basically, you sit down at a table, and that is where you're watching her from. Like, you could theoretically sit through the entire show, and you could still probably get a good enough view of her, like, honestly. I mean, everybody was standing, everybody was dancing, y'all, I was shaking my tits the entire time. But, yeah, like, even if you wanted to just sit, you probably could and still see her, depending on where you were. But I did think that that was cool, and just the fact that it was so intimate, like, it just felt surreal. Like, imagine just seeing a legend, like, right there. Like, she was literally right there. It was crazy. At one point in the show, she, like, disappeared, and then she reappeared in the audience, like, literally in the crowd, and she started doing spinning around, and I remember my ass had to spin around because I was looking for her on the stage, and I was like, where is she? And then, this other guy, behind me, he was like, oh, she's right over there, and I was like, what? Like, I just could not believe it. I could not believe it. She was, like, running through the crowd. I was like, in what world? Like, where am I existing right now? Like, it just did not feel real to me whatsoever. So even though the show itself, it wasn't necessarily like the big grand production that like a Les Follies tour was. I definitely said that wrong. But it's not like a big grand production like a lot of her past tours have been. But that's okay because I love the more intimate approach, and it's not like they skimped out on like production value or anything. Like, it looked amazing. And obviously her dresses, oh my god, like, oh, she looked so good. Every single outfit, she looked amazing in. But yeah, it's not like it came across as a cheap show. It just came across as smaller and like scaled down, which I think is fine. Like, I still had such an amazing time. And when are you gonna get to see a legend that close? Like, when are you gonna have a venue this small to see such a like powerhouse? You know, so that was crazy to me. Like, I'm still really not over it. And also, y'all have to remember, I saw Madonna literally in January, and I was front row to that. So now I've seen like two legends like up close within the span of like 2 months. So I'm just like not over it. This was also, I went the night after she was on stage with Madonna in Vegas, and she like alluded to that. She was like, yeah, this has been a very good week for me. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. But yeah, like the more intimate approach I think really works for Kylie specifically because she is just such a warm person. Like, she's so welcoming, and she just has such a radiant energy. Like, that's the thing. Like, even just her smile, like, she just beams positivity, and getting to be in like such a small space to witness that was absolutely incredible. Now, in terms of the set list itself, I mean, it was everything that you would expect. I think she had a good balance of the big hits that obviously she was going to do, and also some of her newer stuff, especially from Disco and Tension, and she threw in like the fan favorites. I think she did a good job of fitting in everything that she could in a relatively shorter time, because this was about an hour and a half long show, so there's just no way to like fit in even a quarter of the hits that Kylie has within that time. Like, it's just impossible. So you really need to be discerning with what songs you want to sing. and knowing the crowd pleasers and which ones the audience responds to. And honestly, there wasn't like a dead moment in the show. I feel like everyone there like definitely knew all of her music and didn't just know like the Can't Get You Out of My Head and like the Padam Padams. Everyone there just truly loved all of the music, which was great to see. But yeah, she did the big hits, obviously, because this is her first tour. I need to stop calling it a tour. This is her residency in the United States where, you know, historically she hasn't been the biggest. And really the people that are going to see her, frankly, are just gays. So it's like she needed to do the ones that were most accessible and the ones that most people knew, which she did. And she also sprinkled in the fan favorites, which I loved. So yeah, I think that she did a great job with that. As far as songs I'm surprised she didn't do, I'm a little surprised she didn't do Time Bomb. Not that they necessarily needed more songs or whatever, like, would I selfishly have loved more? Yeah, but it's fine. But I'm just saying, like, I kind of thought she was gonna do Time Bomb, because that seems like one of her bigger hits. Obviously, I don't live, like, where she is huge, so if anyone lives in, like, the UK or Australia, like, who could speak to how big these songs actually were, like, I would love that. But, yeah, I was surprised she didn't do Time Bomb. I would have really loved to see On a Night Like This. Like, y'all, I stand that song so hard. That is one of my favorite Kylie songs, so I was missing that one. Like, I definitely was sorely missing that one. And also, I was missing Say Something from Disco, but she did do Hold On To Now, which to me kind of scratches the same itch of like an emotional dance track that makes me cry, but also makes me shake my tits. So like, it was fine. I guess there was a replacement for that. I was surprised she didn't do I Should Be So Lucky. Like, that one kind of seems like a given, but she did do The Locomotion, so I guess that sort of covered the 80s Kylie. So yeah, like, that's fine, whatever. And again, it's just like she has so many hits. It's like you just cannot possibly fit them all into an hour-and-a-half show. So yeah, like, even though I'm selfish and I would have loved to see certain songs, you just can't get that. And as the set list stands, it was perfect. Like, this is exactly what a Kylie show in the US should be. If I had to pick my personal highlight, definitely Vegas High. Like, obviously, I lost my mind to that one. Get Out of My Way is my favorite Kylie song ever, so when she went into that, like, I ascended. Like, I literally, that song already makes me ascend, so hearing it live, like, I was just on a different realm. Like, I don't even think I'm back on planet Earth right now. Like, that's how much I was into that. And I also loved Love at First Sight. That was the last song that she did. And I was just like screaming and shaking and crying. Oh, also All the Lovers. Oh my god, so good. Oh, and Hold On To Now. Like, I was crying just a lot. Like, this was a very emotional night for your girl. Yeah, like, it was fabulous. Like, this was an amazing show. She had a lot of crowd interaction. She was like looking at different outfits in the crowd, and it was so sweet. And yeah, like, she was just amazing, and that was not shocking to me. Like, she is Kylie. She is the queen of pop for a reason. She was just still performing at such an amazing, like, level. Like, the fact that she is 56 and still doing these, like, nightly residencies, just insane. Like, absolutely insane. And I just applaud her for even having the stamina to do that, because like, I don't have that stamina at 25. So like, I just have to give her all the props in the world. She was absolutely outstanding. Now, in terms of like the logistics of the show, I just want to give like an overview of literally exactly how the night goes, because I feel like I was very like confused about just how the night would go and like what to do. Not necessarily that I was confused in the moment, just before going into it, I was like, what are we gonna have to do when we get there? So basically, once you get there, there's a few lines that you'll have to wait in. There's 2 table lines, so if you have a table, you'll be waiting in one of those, or at least there were 2 when I was there. And then there's, I'm assuming, 2 general admission lines, and those were like to the right of us. So you'll wait in those lines for what feels like an eternity. It is a very long process. And also before that, there's like a little overflow line, like it's kind of next to the restaurant Mateo's that's in the Venetian. I'm assuming that that's just to keep like crowd control and to keep it from getting too crowded outside of the theater. So yeah, you'll wait in that line for like a few minutes. And then once you get into either the table or general admission line, or well, you know, I'm speaking strictly as someone who did have a table, so if you have a table, then this is what your experience is. You'll be waiting for what feels like a eternity. Like, it is rough. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The wait to get in is forever. Like, you have to plan on spending at least like 40 minutes to an hour just like getting in if you're not like really early. So yeah, you're gonna be waiting there for a little bit, and then they'll let you through like the little rope, and they do a metal detector test on you, all that fun stuff. Then you go into the venue itself, but you're kind of on like the outside area, like you're not in the theater yet, obviously. It's like the little outside wherever where they're selling merch and stuff. That's another line that you'll wait in, and once you get to the front of that line, you need to give the ID and the credit card of the person whose name your table is under. So they actually take your card and your ID, and that is for the minimum spend of the ticket. So basically, they'll hold on to that for the night, and God willing, give it back to you. After that, a waiter will come over. They'll bring you to your table. I will say Voltaire is very, very, like, tiny, and you kind of have to maneuver around the tables and the chairs and stuff. Like, there really is not the most breathing room in there. It's funny because I feel like I wasn't on top of anyone during the show, and I didn't feel like anyone was necessarily on top of me, but the venue just still felt very like smushed. Like, I give so much props to the waiters and waitresses, like bringing around food and having to like serve on these tiny little tables. Like, it's really crazy. It just seems so impossible to me. Like, I would be so stressed. But yeah, so you'll sit down, and then they'll take your order or whatever. The prices are obviously insane, but that's what you get. Like, that's just Vegas for you. About the minimum spend, I think when the show first opened, the minimum spend was 600. They raised that. It's 650 now, as of March, which is when I went. And they did raise all the prices of, like, the food and the drinks, because I remember I looked at the menu before just to plan out, like, what I wanted, and it looked like all the prices were raised by, like, $50. I saw the Kylie Rosé was $250, but then when I went, it was $300. So yeah, they definitely raised the prices there. Insane, like really genuinely like crazy prices. But so yeah, you need to spend at least $650, which is very easy to do. All that we got was caviar and a bottle of the rosé, and that enough would have brought it to $650. So yeah, it's crazy. It is a lot of money, and I know certain people were upset about the minimum spend and just how crazy it was, but here's the way that I think of it. If you reframe it to saying, okay, I'm spending $1,100 to see Kylie in an extremely intimate venue and get caviar and rosé. Like, when you think of it like that, I don't know, I do think that softens the blow a little bit. I think maybe if they redid the whole structure of this to be, okay, you spend $1,300, which includes tickets and also your choice of this beverage or this meal or this dessert or whatever. Like, maybe when you're checking out, you get to pick what dinner you want, or you get to pick like certain packages. Like, maybe they could do a thing where it's like, okay, you buy the tickets and then you get to click one of 3 dinner options. Like, one could be caviar with the rosé, and one could be just the rosé with cookies or whatever they were serving. Actually, they weren't serving the cookies anymore. They were serving liquor-infused ice cream when I went, so they don't have the cookies anymore, if you were looking forward to a Kylie cookie, I guess. Yeah, I think if they redid it like that, that would just make it a lot easier, because, like, I went with my dad, and yeah, I will say right now, full transparency, this was a birthday gift, and he did pay for all of this, so thank you, Dad. But, yeah, he just did not really understand, like, the whole premise of it, because it is a little bit confusing if you've never gone to something like this before, because I've never gone to, like, a dinner show kind of situation, so I had to just explain a million times, like, I'm paying $400 right now, and that's when I bought the ticket, but when we get there, we need to spend an extra $600, and then they add gratuity on top of that, which is why it, you know, ended up being roughly $1,300 for the whole experience, like $650 a person. So yeah, like, it is just a little bit confusing how they do it. Like I said, I think that if they just had an option on the website where it's like you could just pre-pick your meal and then they just charge you one flat fee, that would just make it so much easier, because the way that they're doing it now, like, it's just a little confusing. Like, and also the fact that you need to give them your credit card when you're there. Like, that is what really held up the line so much, because, you know, they were asking for your ID and your credit card, and they had to check and verify. Like, that is what held up the line so much. So, I don't know, I just really believe in doing a flat fee, just charge it all up front, and then you could just walk in. And then if you want to make extra purchases, you can, and you just buy it a la carte or something. I just think that would make it so much easier because, yeah, again, like, the line was so long because you needed to give them your card and everything, and they needed to do all of that stuff. Like, just charge the flat fee and then just have us go in, you know? Like, I just really think that the operation itself, logistically, wasn't necessarily the best. It was just not the smoothest. And this is not me, like, trying to criticize any of, like, the staff there at all. Like, they were all fabulous. They were all wonderful. I have nothing bad to say about the service whatsoever. I'm just saying, like, the operation itself, like, how it is laid out, there's room for improvement there, and I hope that they maybe just tweak it in the future. I know other people have been up at Voltaire. I know Christina Aguilera was there. I want to see her so bad, but I don't know if, like, those shows go the exact same way if they have it laid out like that, but I do think that, yeah, there's just room for improvement, and I don't know that this is necessarily the best way to go about it, just considering how long the wait was, you know? Like, outside of that, like, once you got in, really, it wasn't that, like, long of a wait for anything. We maybe waited, like, 10-15 minutes for our champagne and for the caviar, but it wasn't, like, that long of a wait, and I wasn't hungry either. Like, that's the other thing. I'm not a late-night eater, so it was just, like, a lot for me to even have just, like, this little portion of caviar. Like, at, like, 11 o'clock at night, I was like, oh my god, I'm, like, not in the mood. But, yeah, so anyways, sorry to go on, like, a giant tangent there, but once you're in the venue and you've ordered, they'll spend, like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes getting your food to you, which might sound like a long time, but you have to remember, like, there's a lot of people there, and again, like I said, the service is amazing there. Like, all the waiters and waitresses were fabulous, so, you know, just be kind to them, like, just be kind. But yeah, once you've ordered and everything, there is an opening act. They came on at around, like, 10:30, or I don't want to say act, like, it was multiple acts. I guess it was called, like, Belle de Nuit. I am so sorry for butchering any French term right now, but yeah, there's, like, a bunch of, like, different, like, mini acts that you'll watch before. And then Kylie came on at around 11:20-ish, I want to say, and the show lasted until about, I don't know, like, 12:30, around then, like, or maybe a little bit later. And then after that, the DJ actually stays. Oh my god, we had, like, such a fun DJ. I don't know if she does it every single night, but there was this DJ there. She was just getting her life. Like, I loved her. She was just having so much fun. I don't know if it's the same one every time, but, like, I was like, you're a rock star. Like, she was amazing. She was just having so much fun. Like, she was dancing, she was smiling. I was like, girl, you are getting it right now. But yeah, so there's, like, an after party after the show ends. It's basically, it feels like a club. Like, it just feels like a nightclub, and I actually really wanted to stay, but my dad was so tired, and I was like, you know what, let's go back to the room. Like, it's fine, I will show some mercy on you. I could have easily stayed for another, like, 2 hours because I was just running on so much adrenaline. But yeah, like, if you want to, like, if you're with your friends and stuff, like, that would be great. Like, you could just stay and then get some more drinks or whatever. Maybe finish your Kylie rosé if you didn't during the show. I came so close. My dad doesn't drink, so I was the only one having the damn rosé. So literally, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna have that much. But then it ended up being half, and then it ended up being, like, 3/4, and then it ended up being nearly the whole thing. Like, I had a lot, and it was shocking because I was not, like, hungover at all the next morning. I don't know how. I mean, I guess I had some water in between sips, so maybe that's why. But yeah, like, I was just getting my entire life. Like, it was so much fun. Every time my dad had his back faced towards me, I would literally just sneak in another like, glass of rosé because I didn't want him to judge me for having, like, that much. But I think he noticed by the end of the night, like, it was mostly gone. But yeah, like, it was just a really, really fun time. At the end of the night, they'll bring you back your ID and your credit card, and you'll pay. The gratuity is included, so you don't need to worry about that, I guess. And yeah, like, that is the night. It is a very, very fun night. It is also very, very pricey. I will say, I think that it was worth it. Like, honestly, okay, I should also say, like, I didn't even pay for it, so who am I to say? But, like, if I had to pay, I feel like I would have gotten my money's worth, because, like, if we're going off of what me and my dad, or what my dad paid, it was $1,300, so that's $650 a person. If I had to spend $650 to have this experience again, like, I would, honestly. Like, I really genuinely thought that it was a well-done night, and you got to be in this tiny, tiny venue with Kylie. She's right there, and she's singing the hits, you're dancing, you're eating caviar, you're drinking rosé. Like, it was honestly a very, very fun night. And yeah, it is very pricey, but I don't know, like, to me personally, like, I do think that it was worth it. I would do this show with a lot of my favorite artists. Like, if Madonna did something like this, I would pay $650. If Britney ever, like, wants to perform again and, like, did something like this, I would definitely pay $650. So, yeah, like, I do think that it was worth it, but it is on the pricier side, and you do have to know, like, what you're getting into. Like I said, if you reframe it in your mind to thinking, okay, this is $1,300 for me and my friend to go see Kylie Minogue, and we get a dinner with it, like, that's just kind of how I see it, instead of, like, the minimum spend and, like, the tickets are this much, the, you know, spend is this much. Like, it's just confusing, and I kind of get that. Like, it really is just, like, a weird way that they laid it out. Or maybe not weird, I guess it's just, like, different, and if you're not used to that, then yeah, it is kind of, like, jarring. But still, overall, this was a 10 out of 10 night, pun fully intended right there. It was an amazing time. I hope that I was able to maybe, like, help be kind of a guide. I know that I'm, like, not the best at explaining things, so please forgive me for that. But I hope that I gave, like, a general enough layout where you can expect what to go through if you are going. But if anyone has gone, I would love to hear about your experience. I know that mine was amazing. I loved staying at the Venetian because there were a lot of Kylie fans there now. So it's just like, it's so heartwarming. Like, I saw so many Kylie shirts. There was a lady in the same Kylie shirt that I had, and I was like, oh my God, I have that shirt. And she just looked up and she was like, who the fuck is this? And she was like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this poor lady. I'm just, like, terrorizing her right now. But yeah, like, it was just so heartwarming to see such a presence in the States for Kylie. Like, so many of her fans showed up for this. And that is just awesome. You know, like, I feel like I'll never be around that many Kylie fans again in my life. Like, it really did feel like a Kylie expo at the Venetian, and I just loved it. Like, I really, really had such an amazing time. So yeah, I definitely want to hear about your guys' experience if you went. And if you guys are going, I would love to hear about your travel plans, because I want to live vicariously through you right now. Like, I could use another vacation already. So yeah, definitely let me know about your plans to see Kylie, or if you have seen Kylie, what your thoughts on it were. And I will see you in the next one.